We begin in Ukraine, where the military says its troops have regained control of 7 villages, 2 days after President Volodymyr Zelenskyy confirmed a counteroffensive against Russia had begun. Well, fighting is centered around the Russian-controlled city of Bakhmut and further south. Moscow hasn't officially acknowledged any Ukrainian advances. But Ukraine says its latest operation has recaptured villages in the southeastern Zaporizhia region. Well, it follows Kyiv's claims that a cluster of settlements were retaken along the front lines in the Donetsk region, where Russian forces have been entrenched for months. On Monday, Ukrainian troops said they liberated the village of Storozheve from Russian occupation. The recapture of 3 other small settlements nearby was announced on Sunday. Russia's defense ministry says its forces have repelled Ukrainian attacks. Charles Stratford reports now from just north of those villages near Velyka Novosilka.
The town lies in ruins. The sounds of battle echo down these deserted streets. The Ukrainian army pushed out of Velyka Novosilka in recent days and says it's recaptured a number of settlements from Russian forces nearby to the south. There's been a lot of heavy fighting in this town in recent days. The Ukrainian military tell us that it was Russian forces that blew this bridge up and another bridge as a means of trying to prevent a Ukrainian advance. We know now that that has failed. Ukrainian forces, we understand, are moving south around 2 kilometers from here. This Ukrainian army video, which Al Jazeera can't independently verify, reportedly shows Ukrainian soldiers in the village of Storozheve. There are abandoned Russian vehicles and bodies on the streets.
At first, the enemy resisted, tried to repel our attack with artillery. We managed to take initiative into our hands and slowly, house by house, we started to recapture the village. Approximately, we killed 10 enemy soldiers and took 4 prisoners.
Ukrainian forces say mop-up operations continue and they're facing barrages of rocket and artillery fire as they try to advance.
Clearing operations are ongoing in this area. They left many surprises, many booby traps. Everything is mined.
Paulina's shrapnel-scarred house is still standing. She is the only civilian we find in Velyka Novosilka. She stayed here throughout the fighting, watching, listening to her town being destroyed.
There's nothing left. Everything has to be rebuilt from scratch. We came to live here over a year ago, just as the war started. It's impossible to describe. Everyone has had something destroyed.
Ukraine's fight to retake control of its territory is just beginning. Small initial gains may be, but months of battles are expected along Russian defensive lines that are well prepared and dug in. Charles Stratford, Al Jazeera, Velyka Novosilka, Ukraine.
Well, journalist Yulia Shapovalova has more on what Russia is saying about the Ukrainian counteroffensive.
According to the Russian side, the counteroffensive, the Ukrainian counteroffensive, has been going on for a week, and so far the Ukrainian troops have faced a lot of difficulties. We've seen footage of wrecked Ukrainian tanks and armored vehicles. This time around, the Ukrainian counteroffensive was on everyone's lips for several months, and it was long anticipated. Therefore, while the Ukraine was preparing its offense, the Russian army was preparing for defense, and they were digging trenches, erecting their fortifications, strongholds, and they were equipping artillery positions and minefields. They created something which is called a layered defense. So it's going to be very hard for Ukraine to break all the lines of defense now, particularly when they do not have proper aviation, while Russia has intensified its aviation assaults. Plus, analysts say that Russia has managed to accumulate some additional human reserves. The Russian side continues speaking about so-called dim Ukrainian perspectives at the moment.